Welcome to You Can Cook Anything with Bob and JP. I'm JP, and you may have seen our last video in which Bob cooked some fried chicken, start to finish, on video, to show you that it was easy to cook a meal in 40 minutes and get it on the table for a hungry family. I'm going to make a video a little bit like that. You won't see everything start to finish, there'll be some editing, but what I wanted to show you was that it's actually easier to cook fish than many people think. When I started cooking, I didn't think fish was very easy to do. I thought it was kind of a big deal, a mess, or just difficult to get right. So what I did was, driving home from work today, I picked up 3 pounds of salmon, and I'm going to do cedar plank salmon. I'm going to show you a topping to put on it, and I'm going to get it on the grill and cook it and have it done in time for dinner. So stick around and see how that's done. So basically with cedar plank salmon, what you do is you're going to cook a salmon, fillet on a soaked cedar plank so that the cedar plank starts to char and add some flavor to the salmon on the bottom. But on the top, you place a coating that is flavored, that is a little bit sweet, a little bit mustardy, and it's really delicious on your salmon. So I'm going to show you, it's a really simple coating to throw together, and I'm going to do that right now. Okay, what goes into the coating for the salmon? You need something sweet, so I'm going to start with some honey. Now this is 3 pounds of salmon, so I'm just eyeballing it to how much I think I'm going to need to cover the surface area. And to the honey, I'm going to add some Dijon mustard. I'm going to put a healthy amount. The mustard is a really important flavor in this topping. To that, I'm going to add some soy sauce, a couple of tablespoons. I'm going to start mixing this. This mixture is pretty wet right now. I'm going to add some dill to it. Dill is a great flavor to add to pretty much any fish dish. And as you can tell, I'm eyeballing these amounts, but let's say that's a teaspoon of dill, maybe half a teaspoon of dill, 2 tablespoons of the mustard, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and about 2 tablespoons of honey. Okay, I've also got some ginger here. I'm going to grate some fresh ginger into this mixture. I've got a microplane, which is really great for grating ginger. You can use any kind of grater. It will work. I like a lot of ginger in my recipes. I think ginger is another great flavor for fish. Now, you can peel the ginger, which I sometimes do, a lot of times, but I've washed this ginger, and I don't mind a little bit of the skin of the ginger if I'm grating it finely, and this microplaner really does a good job of finely grating the ginger, so you're not going to notice any little pieces that might be from the skin. Okay, it's going to be really tough to spread that on the fish because it's so wet. So the final ingredient is hopefully going to make this more like a paste. And that's a little bit of brown sugar. You use light or dark brown sugar, I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference to the final product. I've got dark brown sugar here, and I'm going to put about 1/3 of a cup of this brown sugar in there. And that's mainly because that's about how much it looks like it's going to take to thicken this up. so that it becomes kind of spreadable. So I'll judge that once I get it in there. If it's not thick looking enough, I'm going to put more brown sugar. You're not going to complain once this is on the fish that it's too brown sugary, because brown sugar is going to taste amazing on your salmon. So it looks like I need more. I have quite a large portion of fish, so I'm making enough so that we have leftovers because we like salmon so much. All right, so do you see how that's getting thick there? That's going to be enough to coat the fish. This is actually smelling right now like my gingerbread recipe, which is something else I'll have to make a video for eventually. Two main components of gingerbread are ginger, grated ginger, and molasses, which dark brown sugar smells a lot like. Okay, that's really thick. Okay, that's gonna make me happy. As this heats up, it's gonna get thinner. That's one of the reasons I want to thicken it up. All right. So if you can see my fire over here, I've got the charcoal in a starter. I'm just using briquettes this time because this is meant to be just a quick affair. And the flames coming out of the top there, it's ready for me to dump them out onto the bottom grate and spread them out. Right now I've got the top closed, but I've got all the vents open so that there's good air ventilation so that the coals can continue to get ready to cook. I've got my coating good and thick. Now it's time to do two things. Get my salmon and cut it into portions that will fit on my cedar planks. Place them on the cedar planks and then coat them. Okay, here are my soaked cedar planks. I'm going to arrange them here. And here's the fish that I bought. This is a 3-pound fillet. It's actually barely going to fit on the planks, but I need to cut it in half in order to get it to fit. So we're going to put let's aim this. Notice that I've got it skin side down. Aim this so that I've got about half on each. But it's going to hang over the sides, which is unfortunate, but I'm not going to trim it. We'll just let that cook the way it cooks. Okay. So I've put each one. I'm actually going to fold the one that is overlapping a little bit over. Now at this point you want to feel for any bones. And if you can feel any bones, you can really feel the bones. You can just pull them out. They're actually fairly easy to feel while the fish is raw. This is one of the reasons that it's good to clean your hands and make sure you use bare hands for something like this, because you need your sense of touch. Okay, right before you put the coating on the fish, you're going to want to add some salt and pepper. I like to put the salt and pepper directly on the surface of the fish. Notice that I put the fish skin side down. That's because the skin is going to largely stick to the cedar, and so when it comes off, that's fine, because generally people don't want to eat the skin, so that works out. All right, so there's some salt. There's an amount of salt on there because there is no salt in the topping. It's better to just put it right on there, that way you know how much you're adding. And then I'm just going to put some pepper directly on top too, freshly cracked pepper. And now I'm going to brush the topping on there. So topping is quite thick, which is perfect. And you can see we have quite a bit of fish. Don't be shy about the amount that you put on there. We made a bunch for a reason. And that reason is, it's delicious. One of the benefits of doing this outside is if it drips a little bit, it just gets on the deck instead of all over the place. All right, that one's coated. Now this one's coated. These planks have been soaking for about a half an hour. The recommended time is an hour, so they may actually burn more than we want them to. But I don't think that's going to be a problem. And what we're doing here is we're trying to show how to do this in an economical amount of time. So we're not that worried about a little bit of burning of the plank as long as the salmon cooks. All right, that's generous portions of the coating. Okay. Now I'm going to place the coating, the cedar directly on the grill. Notice that basically you're getting an indirect heat because the salmon is actually not over the coals, it's on the planks. Okay? To accompany the salmon, I'm going to throw a few peppers on there to char, soften, cook, and char. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to close the top of the grill and allow it to trap some heat and cook the top of that salmon. I'm also going to close the vent by half, allow some of that heat to stay in there. Okay, about 8 minutes in, I'm going to check on the peppers there. Okay, so you've got good heat. I'm going to turn these peppers so that they don't get too burned on one side, although it looks like they're actually doing pretty well. I think I can probably open those grates. Okay, it's been on there 20 minutes or so. I want to closely monitor the temperature because I don't want to get too overcooked, but I also want it to be cooked through. We're looking for a temperature around the FDA recommended 145 degrees, but I'm okay with a little bit under. Right now, that's nowhere near. That's about 100 degrees internally, so it's going to take a little while longer. Well, I didn't realize we were this close to sundown. Time to check the temperature again. It's been on there for about a half an hour now. And it looks like we have 134 degrees, which is actually considered medium. This one's 148 degrees, so the smaller one is done. And this one is cooked better than medium in several places, so I'm going to call that done. Let's take a look. So I am going to first pull the salmon off of the planks, plop them on the plate, and we'll see what we've got. It looks pretty good, actually. That is a lot of salmon. So, in the meantime, my wife has made some rice. We are going to serve this salmon with these peppers and the rice. And that's dinner. And despite the sun going down in the middle of the video, this really only took me total cook time about an hour. And part of that was because it took me some time to get rid of the little bones inside the salmon. And that's going to vary. You can cook salmon faster if you cook it directly on a grill and not on cedar planks, but that's a video for another time. Thanks for watching, and remember what Bob and I always say.